Hi everyone, welcome back to Taste of Tastemaker. My name is Amanda. I'm the digital marketing and social media coordinator at Tastemaker. Give me 1 second before we get started. I'm going to go ahead and invite our guest in and also pin the comment. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pin that, and then I'm going to go ahead and invite our guest in. Hold on 1 second. This is always the fun part. You guys just get to watch me do nothing. Okay. I need to wait until our guest joins us. I will wait for Eden to join the call, and then I can go ahead and invite her. While we wait, can you guys hear me okay? I see some waves. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. Hopefully Eden will join us in a second, and then we can go ahead and get started. Today's topic, just while we wait, I'll let you guys know today's topic, which is starting a food blog. So this is for all of you people who follow us, who maybe have been thinking about starting a blog but haven't started one yet. Maybe are content creators but haven't started that blog. So we're going to go over some questions with Eden from Sweet Tea Time, and she's going to give us all of her insight and all of her expertise today. So we're going to give it 1 second, and hopefully she'll join us and we can get started. If you guys have any questions, I'll just go over some housekeeping with you guys. You guys can drop them into, there's a question box down at the bottom. You'll see with a question inside of a little bubble. And then you can also drop them into the actual comment box as well. Okay, it looks like Eden has joined us. I'm going to try to click on her and get her invited. Let's go ahead here. Oh, goodness. Okay, it's of course not letting me ask her to join. This is so fun. This is always the weirdest part, I promise. Okay, here we go. Send request. She'll get it and she'll join us in 1 second. Lives are always so fun and has so many issues. Okay, perfect. Hi, Eden.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Ecstatic. I'm ecstatic.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Look at you with all your props behind you and everything. You're ready.
Yeah, we're in my office today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I was just telling everybody the theme of today being starting a food blog. And I kind of introduced myself a little bit and kind of let everybody know this is our second episode of A Taste of Tastemaker, just letting everybody kind of get a little taste of what we try to do here, which is educate everybody on food blogging, on content creation, and introduce them to people in the community who can be an asset to them, which you totally can be. So we are excited to have you here today. And basically, just get into it. So if you want to kind of tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, your business, and just introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eden Westbrook. I run the popular food blog Sweet Tea and Thyme, where I talk about all types of comfort foods, multicultural dishes, and seasonal recipes. But I also love to teach other food bloggers how to start and how to create a successful and profitable food blog through the Food Blogging Mastermind. And we are about to start enrollment for Cycle 2 on August 25th. So if you would like to, you have a link in my bio that you can go ahead and check out.
That is awesome. How exciting. Well, if you wouldn't mind kind of telling us a little bit about your own food blogging journey. I think the audience kind of asked a lot about that and kind of really wanted to know in our question box beforehand, kind of what your journey looked like.
All right, so I started dabbling in food blogging in 2012, but I didn't get serious about it until 2015. And during that time, it was kind of like a no man's land. There wasn't a lot of community. Everything was kind of just trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. And more so of thinking of it as, okay, I'm just sharing recipes out of the goodness of my heart, basically, to my friends. And that was basically how it started. But then income reports started becoming a really popular thing back in 2015, 2016. And that's when my husband, I'm making this a business. We invested, oh gosh. And at the time, we barely had money to our name. We barely had a dime. But I was like, I'm going to invest like $128 that we did not have in this. And he's like, this better work out. And I said, bet. Up retiring my husband. Honey, did I retire at 28 or 29? 28. 28. So I retired my the outside workforce. He now works with me and he works on his own things at home. And basically this has kind of started there. And then my food blogging journey, it was not fast. A lot of people are probably asking like, oh, you kind of created this overnight, but it's not. All overnight successes take a lot of time. So basically it was nose to the grindstone, trying to learn everything I could, what works, what doesn't. That seems to be a lot of food blogging when you don't have a guide or a mentor. It's mostly listening to what other people are saying, hoping that one thing will work, one thing will not, and honestly that's just kind of how food blogging is when you're by yourself, when you're not being guided by anyone.
Yeah, for sure. I think now there seems to be a lot more courses, and Taste of Tastemaker came out in 2017. And I think there's a lot more avenues for people now than how they used to be. So
Definitely.
people should take advantage of those. I know that sometimes it's hard, like you were saying, especially if you don't have the money to contribute towards that. So sometimes it can be hard to join a mastermind or join something. But sometimes it's worth that smaller investment if you can find something that fits into your budget and kind of going in for it, because it can be such a lucrative business if you're in it for the long haul.
That's right. It's definitely not a short-term game here.
No, definitely not. So we do have some people who are not quite at that precipice of starting. Like they really want to have a food blog, but right now they're just content creators. They're creating stuff for their Instagram. Do you recommend for those people who maybe don't want to start a food blog, or maybe just aren't sure, that they start a portfolio, a food blog? What do you think they should kind of go into next?
To me, it feels I would have to go ahead and say, what is your end goal? Um, if your end goal is to create money off of it, you need a website. Point blank, period, end of discussion. You need a website. It doesn't have to be a blog. It has to be a website. And I say that, I'm going to tell a little story, and I love telling this story.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, there's a woman who she created her livelihood on Instagram. She was an Instagram influencer. Instagram, we all know, is the one in control of Instagram. So when they decided to just delete her profile, it was gone. All hundreds of thousands of followers gone. All of that. And she ends up crying on like Twitter or something. And she says, I don't have any life skills. That was my livelihood. How am I going to pay my bills? And then she said she doesn't want to be a prostitute again. I said, whoa, hold up, what's happening? Like it was so crazy. And it's like, do not go ahead and put all of your eggs into someone else's basket. A website you control. You control who sees it, who can be on it. You control all of the content. You control how many people can see your content. And I think that's the best part of having a website, is that you are in control, and that it's so much better than being on someone else's platform, where they control who sees you, they control how many people see you, they control whether or not you're here tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
100% get a website. If your ideal job is to somehow, or your ideal thought is to create this as a career, that is your platform and it will be your bread and butter, you know?
So true. Yeah, like you said, like it could go away at any minute on social media. So it's so important to have some type of place that you own yourself. No one can kind of take that away from you. So completely agree. We try to kind of tell people the same thing, and sometimes, you know, you just need to hear it, and you need to hear that wisdom from people, because like you said, it could go away at any second. So I'm going to hop into some of the questions that we were sent. Some of them you might have already kind of answered, so we'll kind of go through them as we go. But the first one was, what is the best kind of website to use to build your blog on? Wix, WordPress, .com, .org, Squarespace?
Okay, so I'm going to say 100% WordPress. And you know, people will go ahead and fight tooth and nail. Oh, it's so difficult to try to figure out. There's so many things you can do. Exactly. There's so many things that you control. You have to understand the biggest thing about creating your own website, having your own business, is the control that you have over that business. So I believe with Wix, it's almost as if they kind of own your website. Almost like a WordPress.com website versus a WordPress.org, a platform website, which if you're new, you probably have no idea what that means. But basically, they kind of own your domain. And a couple of places, like I believe Blogger is like that, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
A lot of them won't allow you to run ads, which, hello, if you're a food, you want ads so that way you can go ahead and make your money. Or at least a chunk of it. And so if you are basically, once again, running off of somebody else's platform, or you're running off of a website that doesn't allow you to have ads, but it's easier to use, well, you are seriously missing out on a huge chunk of change. I promise you, Mediavine ads, I 100% stand behind their ad network. Oh, I don't want to, honey, I want to tell them, but I don't want to, I know, it's not braggy. It's not braggy. Okay. So, ads in 1 month of Mediavine ads from last year, I ended up buying the car, not
yes. Love that.
Cash. And then we were the cash couple.
I love it. That's amazing.
And so, you know, it's a place where I'm like, WordPress allows you to have ads. Ads allow you to do things like that. And I mean, if you go into the Mediavine Publishers group, people say, I bought my house from Mediavine ads. Somebody first show pony like last month. It's it's an area where you want to go ahead and be in control of your blog.
Yes.
You know whether you can have ads, do WordPress. Yes, it is kind of like a learning curve, but once you get it, it's like the world is your oyster when it comes to that blogging platform. You know, you can create a beautiful website or have someone create it for you through themes and whatnot. I'm not super tech savvy. How did I get military? I don't know, but I'm not super cast. I'm not. So.
I love that. We are big fans over here at Tastemaker of Mediavine. They're one of our sponsors. I think, just it makes a world of difference kind of having those on your blog. And I think a lot of bloggers who have been in the game for a while, that's kind of their goal, is to get onto Mediavine. Which I know you mentioned also is like a big thing for a lot of the people who join your mastermind. Even if they've already created a blog, their next big goal is to get ads onto their website. And the biggest way you can do that is to make sure you have a WordPress.org site. Because personally, I made the mistake of having a Wix site for the longest time. And it is true. It is very easy to use, especially in comparison to WordPress. But at the same time, like you said, you get used to having the WordPress. You get used to having it over time, and you can hire people, web designers. You can just purchase. Another one of our sponsors is Feast Design.
I love them.
Yes, and we love them, and they are so awesome. And you can purchase their designs, and once you kind of have that in there, it's a lot easier to use as well. They have the modern homepage, and all of their pieces also help with SEO. And that then helps with getting those eyeballs onto your site, which then helps with the ads. So it all kind of goes hand in hand with each other.
Oh, I would like to answer a question that I actually received from someone.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Which was whether or not to go ahead and have ads, I don't want to be, mean, but the lower traffic.
Sure. Yes.
And while you wait for Mediavine or AdThrive, and don't touch them. Another story time. I was with an ad company for lower traffic ads. Not only did they slow my site down awfully, which is horrible for SEO, it's horrible for user experience, makes people not want to get on your website because it runs so right. Not only that, but they ran very inappropriate ads.
Oh no.
Constantly trying to
Oh
talk.
no.
They said, oh, well, it's basically out of their hands, constant like redirects, all of that stuff. And basically, once I got rid of that ad network, my site speed got faster, I gained more traffic, and I was able to get into media buying.
Awesome.
So do not go with the lower traffic ad networks just for a little bit of money. Trust me, I was making $15 a month off of that ad network. Oh, it was awful. And it was like, okay, like this isn't even worth, all of this mess is not worth the little bit of money that you're giving me. Like there's no problem. Like there's no, I say focus on SEO, focus on your website, focus growing your user experience and your traffic before running to an ad network. Just because it's a little bit of money does not mean that it's worth it.
Totally agree with that.
Totally.
So for website purposes, building a blog, kind of all of that, a lot of people were asking, like, what's the most important skill that people should focus on? Is it the photography? Is it the writing? Is it the tech? Is it the keyword research? What's kind of the number one thing? If you said, take one, you only had $20 to your name, take one small course or take one, free webinar or something like that, what would be the thing to kind of focus on?
Once again, it depends on what your goal is. I have friends who, they want to work with brands all the time. They love working with brands, so they really work on their photography, their videography. So if you really want to work with brands, and brands is very lucrative. It's a pain in the butt sometimes, but it's very lucrative. So working with a brand and being making thousands of dollars per each one, and you're just, giving them beautiful content, giving them beautiful, because that's really what they're after. When they tell you, oh, we want to see your Instagram numbers, they don't want that. They want your content. So creating this beautiful content for them makes you the big bucks, and that's what you want to work with. Focus on your photography. For me, I've always been about my blog. I do work with brands from time to time, but they're not my focus. My focus is creating just wonderful, heartwarming, family-friendly recipes, So I focus on recipe development. I focus on SEO, so that my blog gets out there. That's one of my biggest things is SEO. And it amazes me, because like I said, I do run the Food Blogging Mastermind. It amazes me how much the girls were like, oh, there's so many things that people were telling me that completely goes against what you're teaching me. And it's like, yeah, because sometimes free is not always the best. I learned that the hard way. So they learned how to do their SEO. They learned how to build basically a post where people learn and enjoy and create beautiful food based off of their food, because that's their I guess purpose, their goal here in this career, the same as mine, is creating this food. So figure out what exactly you want to do. Do you want to create beautiful content for others? Do you want to create, you can have beautiful photos and put it on your blog as well. But when it comes to your blog, the biggest thing, SEO and recipe development. Because trust me, if you got a really bad recipe, it doesn't matter. The recipe sucks, everybody's going to tell each other.
So true. Yes, they will let each other know. Okay, awesome. You were saying, okay, sometimes free resources aren't the best. One of our questions was, though, do you have any free resources yourself or podcasts or anything out there? People who are just getting started, a YouTube channel, anything that you would kind of recommend people watch when they're starting a blog?
For a YouTube channel, I love Joni Simon. She does food photography. She does, I believe, food videography as well. Her Artificial Academy course, it's a little pricey at $300, but you know, that's separate from her YouTube channel. But it is like a lifesaver. You know, everybody used to love working with natural light, but natural light is hard to work with nowadays. You know, you're over here, you have to find the right angle. You have to find a window that faces the south. And then you got, you know, you got to find the right time in which to go ahead and put things places. And then you got to fight against the sun, or if it's cloudy or whatever.
Yeah.
So much easier now. But yeah, so Joni Simon's YouTube channel, I personally, I have a little bit of tidbits on my website for bloggers, things about like how to create CA, people really find super helpful, because you know your stuff gets taken all the time, stuff gets stolen, people don't realize it, or people, you know, there's scammers, there's scrapers, there's all kinds of people that will take your stuff. So I have that. I have a post on that. I have another post on my blog about how to reject brands without, like, you know, coming off. Yes, you know, so that way, if you do want to work with them in the future, you know, I have like different setups, you know, kind of copy paste kind of type. But let's see. Oh, I do 100% say jump into the food blogging groups on Facebook. Yeah, I know Facebook is a lot of people, but the food blogging groups be jumping. I don't know, like it's like a totally different world. I do say, you know, take some of the stuff with a grain of salt, because you know every blog is different. Right. But that Casey Marquis says, you know, you better hold on to that. You better like drink it up like miso. Yes. He gave free advice. You better snatch that up, especially if he directed it to you. You better be happy about that. Yes. And Farnsworth as well. She is very. I love like all the information she gives. So if you find yourself in a group with them, I suggest, you know, just clicking follow on them and just every day, just drink that up. But yeah, that's basically all the free things I can think of. Oh, and Food Blogger Pro. Food Blogger Pro. I mean, that is I would say that's inexpensive. It's not free. Right. I believe it's like $30 a month for this. Subscribe, and then you know they have so many different things you can go into, and of course you're not contracted into it, so if you ain't got $30 that month, you know, just
They also have a podcast too, so, and I've listened and learned so many things from that as well. And they've brought people on, and like you were mentioning, Casey Marquis, he's one of our pretty consistent speakers at all of our conferences, just because he just has a wealth of knowledge that no one else can kind of come close to. So we love just having him in as well. Okay, we have a few more questions. I'm going to try to get to just a couple more before our time is up. I think you kind of already answered this next one, so let's jump ahead. Oh, this one is so interesting to me. What was like one, you can mention a couple, but what was kind of like one big mistake you made when starting your blog?
Oh, goodness. Not investing in it. You know, if you have $20 to go ahead and order that pizza, you got $20 to go ahead and invest it into your blog in some way, shape, or form. Let me tell you, whether it's props, whether it's gear, something. Adobe Lightroom is literally $10 a month, but I didn't invest in that for years for some reason. I kept thinking it was super expensive, but it's really not, which is why having a food blogging, basically, a food blogging group, a network, kind of helps because we all talk to each other and we all, tell each other, oh, get this, oh, this is cheap, oh, we're having a sale, this type of stuff. And then I would say the next big thing is getting into courses. You have no idea. I know it sucks that so much knowledge is behind a paywall, but hey, I ended up learning so much, especially photography, through a food blogging photography kind of mastermind that a friend of mine, Sam Adler.
We love Sam.
Me too. So I did her mastermind course, met a ton of wonderful friends through that course. I've done a couple other, just not person-to-person courses, just pay and get kind of courses. I've done those, but I find like the person-to-person interaction courses so much more helpful because you get, yeah, they're more expensive, but then you get the one-on-one time. You get the direct, I'm having this problem. Okay, well, let's find a solution type of situation,
Yeah.
So masterminds and courses, if you can afford it, many of us have payment plans when we do masterminds and courses nowadays. So if you can go ahead and try to get onto a payment plan or courses, just get into a course that you really enjoy or that you have heard good things about, then go ahead, do it. Do it. More than likely, even, I would say, like 99% of the time, they have been completely 100% helpful. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest things too, is that we try to bring that education to people, and it is so important. We can share as much as we can on our Instagram, on whatever, on the blog, but having even things like this with you, where we're actually talking about specific questions, answering actual people's questions that they're having. Or doing the virtual courses or in-person conferences, it gets you those answers to those questions that you've been having, and getting that from the experts. It's so important. So I have one last question for you. You mentioned networking, and you kind of mentioned having your own network with food bloggers. People just want to know, like, how did you build your own network and kind of support system in food blogging?
Kind of just putting myself out there and meeting people, and I know it's so scary, especially because I'm an introvert. I'm a super introvert. I get like super exhausted. I'm probably going to take a nap after this. But yeah, just kind of reaching out and just start talking to people. I treat social media as social media. I try not to treat it as a business, because you will get blogger burnout from that. And especially because you can't control it. So it's almost like you're fighting, and then you get exhausted from all the, why isn't this working? I did this, I did that. And like, no, thank you, honey. So I treat it as social media. So I make friends, so we talk, and, especially food blogger friends. I can't tell you how many I've made just reaching out and saying something on a couple of comments on their posts, or, just talking through their stories and DMs and stuff, and, just interacting like people,
Yes.
Hard nowadays, I guess, because we are through a phone, which it seems so not, what's the word I'm looking for? Intimate? Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, personable. Thank you, honey. So it's like, I'm trying to be personable. We got to be personable with each other. We got to talk to each other. We got to interact with each other, make those friends. There's so many people we're just like each other. We aren't that very much that different, honestly. Despite what craziness is going on in the world, most of us aren't really too much different from each other. We just talk about food. We got families we take care of. We're turning our blogs into businesses, and we're helping each other out.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Eden. I want to kind of end this by you kind of telling everybody again where they can find you, dropping a little bit more about your mastermind again, and just letting everybody know, yeah, where they can follow along.
Alrighty, y'all. So you can find me at, what's it, Instagram handle sweet underscore tea, like the drink, underscore thyme, like the herb, Thyme, here on Instagram. I'm also at sweet tea and thyme, just the same thing with the little word and in the middle, .com, which is my food blog. You can also find my mastermind. You can find links to it in my bio, and you can find links to it in my website. We are opening again for enrollment. It's a very personable kind of me and a small group of ladies or gentlemen. Um, going through your food blog, just kind of dissecting everything, making it kind of strong and healthy so that it's a profitable and successful business versus just being a blog or hobby. And from the group of ladies that I've been with this time, it is just like mind blowing how when they put in the work, their whole blog changes. Their blog changes. They're happier about it. They are rising in the ranks of SEO, and that brings me so much joy. It's my goal and purpose in that to make other people successful. Just like me, many of them didn't have much money or came from nothing. At one point, me and my husband were homeless at the beginning of this. And now I make six figures. I was able to move us into this beautiful home. I was able to retire my husband at 28, and it's a blessing, and it requires hard work, and it's not a overnight situation, especially when you don't have a mentor. So if you would like a mentor, go ahead and what do the kids do, honey? They slide in the DMs. Yeah,
There you
honey.
go.
You all about it, honey.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Eden, for joining us today. It was wonderful to talk with you, and just so grateful for all of your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Good. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.